Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Alex and I'm on Tiermaker and I'm doing an NHL defenseman tier list. There are 5 tiers: franchise, elite, great, good and average. Okay, let's get into the video. Okay, starting off with Aaron Ekblad. He was the 2014 first overall draft pick by the Florida Panthers. He has been a good player all of his career, but he hasn't been an all-star or anything like that. I think he's just a good defenseman. Yeah, okay, Alex Pietrangelo. He's a Norris candidate. He's an elite player. He is the captain of the St. Louis Blues. He's just a really good player, no doubt in my mind. Okay, Brent Burns. He's an offensive defenseman. He has won a Norris Trophy. He's one of the best in the league. He's an elite player. Okay, Charlie McAvoy. He's a young, great defenseman who has a lot of upside, but he hasn't proved himself in the NHL right now. He hasn't reached his full potential. I think now he's just good, but he could be elite or great. Okay, Colton Parayko. He is a good shutdown defenseman. He's the opposite of Brent Burns. He's a good defenseman, not quiet as Pietrangelo Burns. Okay, Doug E. Hamilton. He's an offensive defenseman. He can score. He can be a good defensive guy. He's a power play specialist. He's a great player. Okay, Drew Doughty. He has won a Norris Trophy. He's one of the best defensemen in the league right now. I think he's a great player. He was elite. At one point, he was maybe even a franchise player. Okay, Duncan Keith. In his prime, he was elite. Now he's just good. Dustin Byfuglien. Now he's old and stuff, but when he was the real Dustin Byfuglien, then he was elite. Now I think he's good or even an average. He missed this year. I think I'm going to put him in the good category, but it's really close. Okay, Erik Karlsson. He's one of the best in the league when he's playing his game. This year he was a great player. Other years he was a franchise player. Let's put him in the elite spot. Okay, Hampus Lindholm. He's a good player. He's not an all-star, superstar or anything like that. I think he's more of an average or a good player. I think he's above average. I think he's a good player. Ivan Provorov. He is a young player with a lot of upside. This season he was the number 1 defenseman for the Flyers. But I think he's just a good player right now. Nothing special. Okay, the next one. He's Jacob Slavin. He's a shutdown defenseman. I think he's underrated. He's one of the best Carolina defensemen and they have a lot of them. I think he's a great player, not just a good player. Okay, Jacob Trouba. He was traded to be the best defenseman on that New York Rangers team, but he was not even, I think, top 2 was Adam Fox and Tony DeAngelo. I think this year, I think now he's just an average defenseman. He's nothing special. Okay, John Carlson. He's a good offensive defenseman. He's a power play specialist. He led the Washington Capitals in points. I think he's an elite or a great player. I think he's a great player. He's like an offensive defenseman. He's not as good in his own end. Okay, John Klingberg. He's the number one guy on that Dallas Stars team. I think he's a great player. He's just been a good all-around defenseman for his whole career. Okay, Keith Yandel. He's a really tough one. He's an old defenseman. He could play offensive game. He could be a defensive defenseman. I think he is underrated. I think he's the number one guy on the Florida Panthers team. I think he's a great player. Okay, Chris Letang. If he could keep himself healthy, I think he would be elite or even franchise, but a lot of people think he's just great. I think he's elite. He's one of the best in the league. Okay, Mark Giordano. Last year he won the Norris Trophy. He was really, really good. He was elite. This year he was just great. I think he's getting older. He's now like in his decline. He's great. Okay, Matt Dumba. He's, I think, just a good defenseman. He's the Minnesota Wild probably number one defenseman, but still I think he's just a good defenseman, and he's an offensive defenseman. And yeah, Miro Heiskanen. He's a really young player. It's like, I think he is good right now, but he could be elite. And I think I should put him in the great category with Klingberg because he's so good right now. Yeah, he's a great player. Morgan Riley. A lot of people think he's not as good as he is. I think he's underrated. I think he's one of the best defensemen in the league. I actually think he's an elite player. Yeah, I think he is as good as Pietrangelo or Carlson. He's really, really good. Okay, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. He was great. He maybe even was elite. Now he's like great or good for me. But I think he's more of a great player, not cool. PK Subban. Last year he was great for me, or good. This year he was lower than average. I will put him in the average tier. It's like Trouba should be in the good category if Subban's in the average category. Okay, Rasmus Dahlin. He is a really young player with a lot of upside. This year I think he was just good, but I think he could be elite. Roman Josi, probably my favorite defenseman. He had a really good season. I think he's an elite player. Probably the closest one to being a franchise defenseman. Yeah. Ryan Suter, on his prime, for sure, he was an elite player. 3 years back, he was a great defenseman. Now, last 2 years, he was just a good defenseman. This year, he was a great defenseman again. I think he's just a good defenseman. Nothing special. Okay, Seth Jones. He's an elite player. He's one of the best. Shea Theodore. For me, he's just a good top 4 defenseman. I don't think he's an Oliver Ekman-Larsson or John Carlson. I think he's more of a Colton Parayko. He's a good player. Shea Weber. on his prime, he might even be franchise. But right now, I think he's great. Okay. Thomas Chabot. He's a young player. He's the franchise cornerstone of the Ottawa Senators. I think he's a great player, maybe even elite, but right now he's a great player for me. Okay, Torrey Krug. He's the number 1 defenseman on the Boston Bruins. He's really good. I think he's actually great. He's better than Aaron Ekblad or Dustin Byfuglien right now. I think he's one of the best. Okay, Tyson Berry. In Colorado, he was great. In Toronto, I think he's just good. Yeah, Victor Hedman. For a lot of people, he's the best defenseman in the league. And for me, he's the only franchise defenseman right now. And Zach Werenski, he's great. Yeah, and that's going to be it for this one. Leave a like if you liked it, and yeah, see you at the next video. Peace!